بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Respected elders, brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Day and age, we often find ourselves under tremendous pressure, a great deal of stress, a lot of anxiety. Almost on a daily basis, our homes, we find an amazing amount of anxiety that develops. There is a great deal of stress that burdens us. Also, when we return to our homes, which the homes are meant to be the comfort zones for all the individuals, we find that there's a growing anxiety. And there seems to be no end in sight. But amazingly, if we go back to basics, and we go back to the beloved teachings and practices of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we will find something very, very amazing and interesting. There's a hadith of Anas radiallahu anhu in which he says, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a person leaves the house, إِذَا خَرَجَ الرَّجُلُ مِنْ بَيْتِهِ, when a person comes out from his house, so you set out for the day, maybe for your job, maybe for earning the living, maybe for schooling, for college, for whatever it may be, you set off from the home early morning. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, this person declares, and that phrase is, Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allahi la hawla la billahi. Simple phrase. I will repeat it several times as we go along. In the name of Allah, Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allahi, I put my full tawakkul, my full trust and conviction in Allah. La hawla, there is no power or might, wa la quwwata, there is no strength, illa billahi, except by Allah. So I am setting off for the day. I want to get to achieve whatever I have intended to go out and achieve. Of course, that which is halal and permissible within the limits of the Sharia. But I don't want to have an uphill struggle. I don't want to have this constant insult and abuse. I don't want to have this constant anxiety. I want a relative sense of calm and peace. I want the day to flow with ease. So this dua, Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allahi la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi, what does it achieve? It achieves the constant connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the constant guidance, the constant provision and providence from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The moment the dua is recited, it's said, Allah Almighty appoints an angel to call out to this person, and the angel calls out, Hudita, you have been guided. So in whatever you will set out to do, no need to panic. You will always be guided to that which is right. The hidayah has been granted to you. Not to say we can become arrogant or proud about it, but with all humbleness to think that we are going to go about our day in a guided manner. It's something which will give us that relative sense of calm and peace. وَكُفِيتَ, and you have been sufficed for. Whatever you are going out to see in terms of livelihood, you will find kifaya and sufficiency in it. وَالْوُقِيتَ, and you have been protected. So, onslaught out there. And here you are being protected. You are being given this protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What more do you want? So go about the rest of your day in a guided manner, in a manner where you have been sufficed for, in a manner where you are protected, and you will be able to enjoy the rest of that day. What more do we want? Is there anything more that we are really in search of? A beautiful dua and a beautiful response from the Almighty Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal. Not only that, you know, out there, you're venturing out on the streets, in the marketplace, wherever it is, that is the territory of shaitan. Shaitan, as is recorded in another hadith, every morning is the first one to set off and put his banner in the marketplace, because that's his territory. So we are going to be entering his territory. Enemy, public enemy number one. And this is no hidden secret. Allah Almighty says in the Quran, Inna shaytana lakum aduwwun mubin. Indeed, shaitan is a very distinct and clear enemy unto you. So you are going into his territory. Like it or not, accept it or not, but that is his territory. That is where he enjoys tackling the people. And you find that we get up to all sorts of nonsense and mischief if we are not guided, if we are not protected, if we are not sufficed for by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we declare this dua and we receive the divine declaration of protection and provision and guidance, shaitan calls out to the other shaitan. So now the buddies are having a discussion. So what does he say to the other shaitan? He says, كَيْفَ لَكَ بِرَجُلٍ? What do you think of such a person? Hudiya, he has been guided. وَكُفِيَ, he has been sufficed for, provided for. وَوُخِيَ, and he has been protected. You know what? We can't mess around with this guy. Hey buddy, you know, let's go and try somebody else. Literally, this is what it is. In fact, after the declaration is made to this person to say you have been guided, you have been sufficed for, you have been protected, the hadith says, وَتَنَحَّى عَنْهُ الشَّيْطَانِ. Shaitan moves away. So you've taken over his territory in a manner where you are guided, provided for, protected, etc. Subhanallah. And this is the beauty of the little simple ad'iyah and dua that we have throughout the day. This is only one. But of course, when we engage in our trade and business, there's another dua. If we embark on our study, there's another dua, etc., etc., etc. But look at the power of this small dua. We say small, but it's a very big one, very powerful. And we should program ourselves to say when we step out of the home, for many of us, we have to give a password before we leave and make sure we get the visa before we leave. Yeah, let's declare this password. Password of our Creator Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal. Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allahi la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi. And enjoy the rest of the day with divine guidance, provision, and protection. Now you've spent the entire day. It's a very tiresome day. You've been through a struggle and a toil, etc. By the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, come back home. And like I said earlier, it's meant to be the comfort zone. We're meant to find peace, comfort, solace, tranquility, happiness, contentment. But what happens? Come into the home, it's a war zone. A'udhu billah. It becomes a place where it's literally, as they say, living hell. Why should it be so? Because if you set out with the dua, you kicked shaitan out of his territory. So when you're coming back home, he wants to come into your territory. He actually accompanies the person back and tries to get into the home. He literally wants to come and bring the war into the home. And he does succeed on numerous occasions, if not every time. You get into the home and you start screaming, you start yelling, why were you not here on time? Where are you? Etc., etc., etc. But the hadith, as reported by Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu, he says, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that إِذَا دَخَلَ الرَّجُلُ بَيْتَهُ, when a person enters his home, you've come back, you've had your long day, you enter the home, and this person remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ عِنْدَ دُخُولِهِ. He remembers Allah Almighty upon the entrance. So you enter your home, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You greet the family folk first and foremost, because that is the requirement as laid down by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Enter the home, spread peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. Yeah. And the mercy and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember Allah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. The hadith says, when the person enters the home and remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shaitan calls out. He tells all the others, the contingent which had come to try and get into your home, he calls out and he says that we do not have any place to sleep here tonight. La mabita lakum al-yawm. There is no place to spend the night. We wanted to spend the night. We wanted to declare this the war zone. But you know what? This man is in connection with the Creator, Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal. We don't stand a chance here. La mabita lakum al-yawm. There's no place for you to spend the night here tonight. وَإِذَا ذَكَرَ اللَّهَ عِنْدَ طَعَامِهِ. And now when this person sits down to eat, and he remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, shaitan says that there is no asha, wala asha alakum. There is no asha, no supper for you tonight. So you know what? No boarding, no lodging. Guys, let's go and find another place. Yeah. Otherwise, free board, free lodge. Why? Because the person forgot to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Simple, straightforward. As I said earlier, back to basics. Remember Allah Almighty. Take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and receive the beauty of divine provision. Now the hadith continues and says, if the person does not remember Allah Almighty upon entry into the home, shaitan summons all the other shayateen and says to them, Adraktumul mabit. You have actually found a place to spend the night. So what happens? Invariably, you find in the home, there's an argument, there's a fight, there's shouting, yelling, etc. Suspicion, doubt, all sorts of evil begin to unfold because shaitan is present. It keeps on going, and you think, what the heck is going on? I've come back from a long day and I don't need all of this. And the sad reality is, it's with those who are meant to be most beloved and near and dear to us. Those who have sacrificed so much in their lives to be with us, and we've sacrificed so much to be with them. Yet we find at each other's throats. We are at each other as though we are enemy unto one another. Na'udhu billah. And the hadith continues and says, if the person does not remember Allah Almighty when he sits down to eat, then shaitan calls out to the others and says, you have also got supper tonight. And you find we start complaining about the food because shaitan is present in the food there. So we're complaining, oh, the food is burnt today. Oh, there's too much salt. Why didn't you cook the other stuff? And it's an argument over every minor issue. It becomes a torment. So outside, if we haven't observed the dua, there's anxiety, stress and torment. Come back into the home, we haven't remembered Allah, anxiety, stress and torment. Do we need all of this? Can we handle all of this? How much longer is it going to go on? So it is important that we observe the basics, simple and straightforward. Leave the home, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Come back into the home, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we will find, I guarantee you, immediate relief from all that anxiety and stress. Because these are not my words. These are not the words of my sheikh. These are the words of Rahmatul lil Alameen, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who was the best of teachers, who was the most concerned for entire humanity, who had that feeling, that compassion for our guidance, for our peace, for our safety, for our provision, etc. And he did not spare anything in order to guide us, no matter how small or how great the matter was. He, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in a selfless manner, he imparted the beautiful teachings, the beautiful practices, so that we would be able to enjoy a comfortable, a respectful, a dignified life in this world, as well as the life of eternity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant every single one of us the ability to observe the basics so that we can build on that and then get to that which is even more important and greater. And in this manner, we find that this short earthly stay of ours becomes a stay where we are able to work towards pleasing our Creator. We are able to work towards respecting each other. We are able to work towards promoting peace, happiness, and joy. May Allah Almighty accept all the efforts. MashaAllah, Mufti Sahib will explain. We are going to have a majlis of dhikr. As we all know, that we are composed or created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as body and soul. The physical body needs physical nutrition. And we always try to look for that wholesome, most nutritious food which will be able to nourish us, provide us the sufficient minerals, the sufficient vitamins, and we try to look for that which will give us growth and development in our physical strength, our mental capacity, etc. So, in the same breath, the soul and the ruh that Allah Almighty has given us requires nutrition. And if we are not careful, it may become malnourished, it may become obese, it depends on what wrong we are doing, etc. So we need to constantly give wholesome nourishment to this ruh, and that is through the dhikr and the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I spoke about the anxiety and the stress. The ayah of the Quran is very distinct. أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. Be informed that indeed it is by the remembrance of Allah Almighty that the hearts find solace and itmi'nan. So, inshallah, some of us, we may be aligned to a particular sheikh, we may have our particular wird and our wazifa. Let's engage in that. Those of us who don't, we can sit and engage in the tasbihat, the durood, the istighfar, the third kalima, the fourth kalima, etc. And thereafter, as the sun rises, we will observe Salatul Ishraq and then proceed, inshaAllah. Jazakumullah khair. Or kuch, inshaAllah.
Everybody sit in their places and do the zikr as Maulana has mentioned. At 6:45, inshallah, will be time for Ishraq. Read Ishraq, and then everyone can go across the road for breakfast.